today I want to speak about contemporary problematic statements that one utters with his tongue, which leads him to destruction. And the examples are many. Also, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentioned another hadith, and this is the scariest out of the many hadith that are out there. إن الرجل ليتكلم بالكلمة من سخط الله لا يلقي لها بالا فيهوي به في نار جهنم 70 خريفا. One, he may utter a single word, brothers and sisters. And when he utters that single word, he doesn't give it much care. He doesn't give it much concern. He takes it very, very lightly. And because of that one statement that comes out of his mouth, that he utters with his tongue, he's thrown into the hellfire for 70 years. So I have a number of points written down that I want to bring to your attention. The first that I have written down, my brothers and my sisters, is swearing by other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As children growing up, we became extremely used to swearing by our mother's lives, our parents' lives. If you now say to someone, Wallahi, Billahi, Tallahi, because of it being used so excessively, the name of Allah Azza wa Jal has lost its worth in the eyes of many. You see even now non-Muslims in their tracks, right? When they are rapping using the name of Allah Azza wa Jal, Wallahi wa Billahi wa Tallahi. Just yesterday, when we came back from the path, me and the family, non-Muslims, they were saying Wallahi. Non-Muslims, they were saying Wallahi. Just so he can make the other person believe that which he's saying. And then they were joking about it. Right? And we have to be blamed for this, brothers and sisters, and that is because we use the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so excessively in vain. Right? But when you now swear by your mother's life, oh, the person now what? He takes you seriously. How serious is this, my brothers and my sisters? We hear about major sins, right? Murder, zina, riba, and all of these major sins. May Allah Azza wa Jal protect us from it. Then you also have major shirk, an act that takes you out the fold of Islam. When you now worship other than Allah Jalla fi'ula. And in between that, brothers and sisters, is a sin called minor shirk. And from the examples of a minor shirk, brothers and sisters, is swearing by your mother's life, or your father's life, or your dead nan's grave. Touch wood. This is some of the things that is mentioned, right? Ma'al asaf al-shadid, brothers and sisters, this has become a norm that we need to purify and clean our tongues from. If we think that zina is serious, my brothers and my sisters, this is a type of sin that falls in that bracket between major shirk and also what? Major sins. The second one that I've written down, my brothers and my sisters, and this has become a pandemic, more widespread than the coronavirus. Just ask TikTok. An app that is what? Toxic by nature. Ask Allah Azza wa Jalla, send somebody to close this app down. Right? Kids are being rushed into hospital, you know why? Because they're trying out these gimmicks. And then he gets into an accident that breaks his arm. Others find it extremely funny to make jokes about the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One statement, brothers and sisters, could be the reason why one shoots out of the religion. Making fun about others is a serious thing. Making jokes about an individual's facial features, mocking him, is extremely bad. And you know what's even worse than that, brothers and sisters? One making jokes, ridiculing the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. With these gimmicks that go around, especially on TikTok. And you know what's even more ajib? When we receive these videos on WhatsApp, on other platforms of social media, we start laughing. We find it funny. Especially in the month of Ramadan. That video that goes around of the Imam praying like this, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. It does the rounds. And we're laughing and finding it funny. This is really funny, brothers and sisters. They call it the Ferrari Imam. And everyone's joking around and sending around, brothers and sisters. Did you know, my brothers and my sisters, that making fun of the religion could take an individual out the fold of Islam. I didn't say this. Allah mentioned it in Surah Tawbah. The surah of the munafiqeen, right? That gives the characteristics of the munafiqeen. وَلَئِن سَأَلْتَهُمْ لَيَقُولُنَّ إِنَّمَا كُنَّا نَخُوضُ وَنَلْعَبُ. When you ask them why they did that, they said, we were only joking, playing around. قُلْ أَبِاللَّهِ وَآيَاتِهِ وَرَسُولِهِ كُنْتُمْ تَسْتَهْزِئُونَ. Say to them, O Muhammad, right? Were you mocking the ayat of Allah? His messenger, right? The signs of Allah Azza wa Jal you were making fun of? لا تعتذروا قد كفرتم بعد إيمانكم. No more excuses. Indeed, you have disbelieved. You have left the fold of Islam after Iman came to you. As you can see, it is extremely, extremely serious. I really want you to think about the hadith that I mentioned at the beginning. One utters just one statement. And because of that one statement that he takes so lightly, he's thrown into the hellfire for 70 years. The next one that I have written down, my brothers and my sisters, is there is a narration that is attributed to the Prophet ﷺ is actually weak. However, the scholars, they mention it in their books. And the ma'na, the meaning is actually valid. مَنْ عَيَّرَ أَخَاهُ بِذَنْبٍ لَمْ يَمُتْ حَتَّى يَعْمَلَهُ. Right? Whoever degrades his brother for a sin that he committed, he will not die until he does that. Right? Degrading others, making fun of them because of the sin that he is committing, looking down on them. Brothers and sisters, please take this from me. How often have I seen a mother mocking, ridiculing, degrading the child of another mother because she fell into some mistakes like maybe zina. She became impregnated outside of wedlock. Instead of making dua for this girl, she's ripping her to shreds, ripping her to pieces. She's like this, La ilaha illallah, how could you do this? And then she's telling everyone, Mama khashay, did you hear that girl, she became impregnated? La hawl. Instead of making dua for her, asking Allah Azza wa Jal to forgive her and to make her better, and being fearful for your own daughter. A lot of the time, this mother, she forgets that she has a daughter and that the same could happen. How often have I seen, and I've seen mothers cry because they ended up happening to their own daughters years down the line. The dhulm, the oppression that we cause, my brothers and my sisters, especially with the tongue, it will come back to haunt us. I believe in something called what goes around comes around. And this is a concept that is mentioned in the Quran. Be extra, extra careful with what you utter with your tongue. The next point, my brothers and my sisters, and this is when the Twitter warriors come in, right? That which an individual posts on the World Wide Web, which is an absolute lie. And within a couple of moments, it reaches the other side of the world. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? In the dream, what did he see? He saw a rajul, right? Who had an angel standing over him. They put the hook inside of his mouth, and he would rip his mouth all the way to the back. Likewise, inside of his eyes, a hook would be inserted. And his nose. You know who this individual was, my brothers and my sisters? فَإِنَّهُ الرَّجُلُ يَغْدُو مِنْ بَيْتِهِ. A man who leaves his house. فَيَكْذِبُ الْكَذْبَةِ الَّتِي تَبْلُغُ الْآفَاقِ. He spreads a lie. Right? And this lie reaches the other side of the world. With social media, do you even need to leave your house today, brothers and sisters? Especially on Twitter. You want to cancel someone? That's the platform for it. You want to spread lies about another? That is the platform. Everyone's commenting. Maybe a week later, the reality comes out. Shouldn't have said that. A little bit too late, right? And this is the punishment for that kind of individual. كُفَّ عَلَيْكَ لِسَانَكَ. Hold back your tongue, brothers and sisters. Right? This is now, my brothers and my sisters, number 5. إِنَّ أَعْظَمَ النَّاسِ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ فِرْيَةً يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ لَرَجُلٌ هَاجَ رَجُلًا فَهَجَ الْقَبِيلَةَ بِأَسْرِهَا. From the worst of the people in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The worst of those who fabricate lies is an individual. He makes fun of another. You know, back in the day, they would diss one another with lines of poetry. Today you have diss tracks, right? Before, they had what? Poem tracks. He would make a line of poetry dissing the whole qabila. So here the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying, you've been dissed, or somebody made fun of you or insulted you, he ends up insulting the whole qabila. And isn't this also, my brothers and my sisters, extremely common? People saying things about a particular ethnicity, they are like this, especially when it comes to marriage. If you don't agree with your son's proposal, then show your disagreement, but don't start insulting the whole qabila, or that whole tribe, or that whole group of people, right? Are you ready to pick up the sins of every individual that you insulted? Right? Remember the hadith that I mentioned. One statement that we take lightly, he's thrown into the hellfire for 70 years. If you had a bad experience with someone, don't start generalizing. Is it right to say everybody's like that? This is the argument that we normally use when defending Islam to Christians, right? Is it right now to say that all white people are like the KKK, Ku Klux Klan, because some people do it? How is that right, my brothers and my sisters? That's extremely, extremely dangerous from the statements that come out of an individual's mouth. The next one that I want to mention, inshallah ta'ala, and this is specific to our sisters, right? Imam al-Bukhari rahmatullahi alayhi chaptered in al-Sahih, Bab Kufrun Duna Kufr. The lesser version of kufr, which is the minor one. There's major and minor. And then he said, Kufranul Ashir. Showing kufr to the husband. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, Uritu nara فَإِذَا أَكْثَرَ أَهْلِهَا النِّسَاء. I was shown the hellfire, and the majority of those in the hellfire are who? Women. MashaAllah, all the brothers have memorized the hadith. Huh? The majority of those in the hellfire are what? Women. So the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, they do kufr. The women, they got scared. They do kufr of Allah. He said, no. Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam then said, يَكْفُرْنَ بِالْعَشِيرِ. They show kufr to the ashir, the husband. لو أحسنت إلى إحداهن الدهر ثم رأت منك شيئا قالت ما رأيت منك خيرا قط. If you were to be good to her the whole year, and then she sees one little thing, she will say statements such as, I've never seen any good from you. I've never seen anything good from you. And yes, we know that the sisters, they speak like that. And you as a man shouldn't necessarily take that seriously, because most of the time they don't mean it. But even then, my sister, it is an extremely dangerous statement to be uttering. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if I was to command anyone to prostrate to another, it would be the woman to husband. Right? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala purify our tongues. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ